people that you hired, was there a lot of convincing involved, or was it an easy process?
One of them was pretty easy to convince because he knew us and I'd worked with him quite a bit. The second one was a little bit harder. He actually got the information from the first guy over here before. So, and it's kind of interesting to sit down and, to kind of sit down and think about it now and all those years ago now, because it feels like way longer ago than it actually was. And that's the crazy thing about it is it is so long ago, but it's really not. It's a blink of an eye. And those two guys, the first one didn't take a lot of convincing. The second guy took a little bit. And then we hired a couple more people, and one of them was a great project manager. She was really, really good at it. Another one, he's gone on to fulfill his career, and it just became a little bit easier as you kind of walk through this to go, okay, this is this, and now this is this, and now you don't have to convince people. You still have to position your company. I always tell people in interviews as much about me interviewing the person as it is about the person interviewing the company. And we pride ourselves on our culture for that reason. We want to ask questions. That's the first thing that we always make sure that people know is you have to ask a question if you don't know the answer, and it's okay. And it's better to know that now. And people now take that from interview all the way through to 3.5, 4 years into their career at Stratum. And you're looking at it and going, okay, yeah, now we can do this. So
how about you, Ryan? Was there any convincing? I suppose it mostly was Aaron's side of things from people that he knew, or were you involved in those first couple hires?
Oh, we were both involved. Don't let him fool you.
Actually, up until recently, once we had our entire management team built out, I was involved in all of the interviews because, again, to Aaron's point, not only are we interviewing them for a role, they're interviewing us. So I wanted to make sure that they understood where we sat, what we valued, what kind of passion we had, what we were going to be able to offer them. And I think for us, I can speak for both Aaron and I on this. It wasn't just about someone who's going to take orders. I wanted to know if you were going to come here that you were going to be able to put your own stamp on it. I think if you were to interview most people that are now in management roles, one of the things they love about working at Stratum is we give them a lot of free reign. We want people to be thought leaders, to make their own decisions, not necessarily to be off on their own on an island, but we give people a lot of power to find new business ideas, to create different ways to improve the company, find ways to help our customers in unique, creative ways. And so I wanted to find people that shared that passion, that people that were creative, people that might have those same kind of principles. And so for me, I wanted to be involved in that process, not to micromanage, but as we build that brand, I wanted people that in 10 years, if they leave, that they could be a CIO somewhere, they could be a CTO, people that are going to be viewed in the community as leaders. And to me, that was always important. And I think we've got a lot of people now that I wouldn't be shocked in a few years if they were to leave us to go to other companies, that they would be in executive management roles. So to me, that was always really important.
I have to be pretty honest here regarding my experience. I've worked for a lot of corporations, particularly large ones, and the concept and people saying the word culture kind of, they throw that out as almost internal marketing, but Stratum really fosters an actual culture. And how early on in this development of this business did you both decide? Was it a mental exercise? Did you both sit down and actually talk about the culture and what you wanted to develop?
We definitely talked about what the mission of the business was going to be. We talked about the type of people we were going to look to bring in. it wasn't always the people that had the most experience. It was quite honestly the people that were smart and eager to learn, because if they shared those qualities, we could teach them the technology. So we had a number of people that came in, not just early, but as of 6 to 12 months ago, that had no IT experience, but were smart, eager to learn, and want to be a part of something that they could put their stamp on. And now they've got 4 or 5 Azure certs, 4 or 5 AWS certs, a couple of Google certs. And so I think when we were building early on, it's really hard to put that on paper and have something that translates. I think it was more about our actions, the freedom we gave people, the opportunities we gave people that didn't necessarily come from IT thought leadership backgrounds or even had experience. But if we could find a couple of key leaders that could help mold along with Aaron and I, that was going to be something that helped create that culture over the long run. But I would say it's been a work in progress, like any good company, anything that changes. But we were very, very strict in the early days about who we were going to bring in, because when you're first launching a company, if you have under 10 employees, if you have one person who doesn't mesh, that can create a huge domino effect on culture. So it was really important for us early on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And again, going back to one of my favorite podcasters, when I look at this, it's about the team. On no single person can do everything. Everybody has a role, and and everybody needs to be able to fill in every role. We've got a guy who is a really high-end bike mechanic. He's one of our, when we hired him, he had no IT experience, and one of the people that Ryan's talking about. Now he's AWS certified, Azure certified, he's a solid level 2 engineer. He doesn't get that experience or that opportunity until you actually sit down and talk with them and go, okay, this is this person, this is this person. Those are great. I understand those technology aspects of it. Tell me how you approach a problem. And you look for people who approach a problem or approach an engineering challenge or architecture challenge a certain way. And that is, it doesn't have to fit in line with this is the way you do it all the time. Instead, it's, here's a unique and interesting way that we can come up with a solution to this and make it faster or make it better, make it less expensive. I always go back. There's a commercial that, and you'd have to find it on YouTube or something, where there's a guy walking around with a nickel in his hand. And he goes, I just saved a nickel in every transaction. And he's telling everyone, and everyone's like, who cares about a nickel? Until he bumps into the CIO or the CEO or something. And the CEO says, we do 100 million transactions every month. And that save a nickel now in the context of one nickel doesn't seem like that much. But when you think about it in the context of the entire team or the entire organization, and that nickel then translates significantly, you just save $5 million a month in run rate in that company if you use that example. And that conversation is what we try and drive with every one of the people. Look, I'm not going to say that I'm the smartest person in the room. Anyone who says they are is usually trying to hide something. But what I am going to say is, I know a lot about a certain thing. If you have a better idea, let's hear it. If you say, oh, it isn't going to work that way because of this, you have to hear it. And it goes back to being humble leaders, you have to have a certain level of humility to go, yeah, you have a better solution. Let's hear it and step up. And that's really the goal in all of this, is to say, we want to empower our people. There's people, like Ryan mentioned, want to empower them to think of this as their business, because if they do, they're going to learn more than just coming in, punching a clock, handling tickets, or doing a deployment and then walking out. You think of it as your business, and you're going to look at it from, how do I improve my project management? How do I improve my accounts payable returns? And you start to look at things to say, how do I generate revenue in ways that I didn't really look at it before? It's a great feeling to watch people turn that switch. And it doesn't happen right away in most companies, or for most people that we bring in now, it doesn't happen right away. It happens usually about 5 or 6 months in. They'll see this experience, they'll try this one thing, and they say, well, I think we should do it this way. And we say, okay, we'll ask a question. Why do you come up with it that way? And so he or she'll say, well, because this, and this, and say, okay, great, run with it. You're in charge. Give them the opportunity to prove themselves. Be there to support, and you're going to have an incredible culture. It's something that when you read books, when you talk about it, it's about team, and that's really where we target more than anything else. Is we're all stronger together, and it's a corny old saying, but the chain is strong if all of the links are strong. They don't all have to be the same strength, but the chain is strongest when all the links are doing their job. So.
No, the reason I bring it up is because, like I mentioned, it seems like a lot of companies that I've worked for in the past, it's some sort of internal marketing. You shouldn't be shy of making a mistake.
Mistakes are okay.
As long as we learn from them, and so we don't do it again. So.
Yep. Mistakes are okay. Just please learn from them. And you don't learn. It's experiential learning. Mistakes are okay. Own it, learn from it, move on. It's okay.
Thank you for watching Stratum's Cloud Interrupted. If you like what you see, please subscribe, like, and share this video.